Hi guys. Okay, let me see if we are up and running. If we are up and running. Seems so. Seems to be a little delayed on my end. Hi guys, let me know if you are there. If we are up and running. Seems so. Seems to be a little delayed. Okay, so I'm gonna wait until everybody gets in. Hi guys, let me know if you are there. If we are up and running. I'm having extreme technical difficulties today, but we move. So I'm gonna wait until everybody gets in. We move. Hi guys, let me know if you are there. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and start. So today is part 2 of or how to use your planner. I see 3 of you are here and watching, so I'm going to go ahead and start. And for those that want to catch it on the replay, you can do that. Apologies for the late start. Also, apologies for the technical difficulties. It is a production to get this done, but we are here and we're moving accordingly. So, how to use your planner, part 2. Welcome. And so I wanted to start by just going back through what we would have done 2 weeks ago, which was we started at the beginning of the purpose exercise of your planner and we went through the different sections so that you have an understanding as to the ethos of the planner, why you're using it, the message behind it, what you're thinking about as you're answering the questions, as you're diving deep into yourself, as you're unlocking these answers to be able to, ascertain the true essence of where you're at in your life and where you necessarily want to go. So we went through being, what it means to get present. We went through 2022 in review and approaching that categorically. Then we went through who you're becoming, your action plan, all these things. And we went through making peace, your 2023 bucket list, your Venn diagram for your life. And then we looked at what it is that you are leaving behind in 2022 and then what it is that you are taking with you moving forward into your becoming. And then we arrived at becoming 2023. So this is the part where, and by now I believe that most of you should have completed this full exercise, so you have an idea as to what I'm talking about and you can follow along. So becoming 2023 is the part where you get to look at your 2023 in a snapshot. So it's an overview of all the categories of your life and how it is that what you want to achieve under these different categories. It does not necessarily have to be in full detail, but at least it gives you a snapshot as to the direction that you're going. So on this page, you have career, profession, and educational pursuits. So that's everything to do with your livelihood and the direction in which you're going for that. Then there's new knowledge, new skills, and intellect. And that has a lot to do with, what it is that you want to gain, what new knowledge you want to discover or dive into, what it is that you would like to hone for yourself as well. So for me, for example, one of my goals would be to improve nutrition education, which is something that I'm extremely passionate about, and then at some point during this year get yoga certified. So these are my goals. And then you come down with friends and family, personal life and relationships, valued possessions and assets, community, hobbies, recreation, creativity, health and wellness, etc. And it goes down the line like that, right? So if you are with me, let me know. I'm just going to pause to make sure that I am seeing you guys. And that you guys are seeing me. Right. Okay. Okay, great. Thanks, guys. I think there's a huge delay on my end, so like I'm actually not quite sure what is what, but I'm seeing Vicky and I can see Celicia, so that is great. Thank you for that confirmation. All right. Also, I would like to say, guys, if you have any questions or if there's anything in particular that we would have covered last week or in using your planner that you want me to clarify, please put it here in the chat so that we can talk about it. But yes, let's continue. So on page 14, we get into 2023. And after moving away from the big snapshot of what 2023 is supposed to look like for you, it was important for me to ask you questions that help you dive even deeper into what it is that you're going to focus on. Because we could have a lot of broad intentions, but the idea is that we actually achieve the results. And in order to do that, we need to focus in on what it is that we're going to attack, right? So 2023's breakdown on page 14 starts with, what are the top things I will nurture? That is, what is it that you're going to put your energy into? What are you going to nurture? Means like continuously feeding into, right? So these are the things that you're going to bring to life. And you can write 3 in there, you can write 4 in there, as many as you can fit. But that's what, well, it says 3, but you can write up to 4, which is what I did. And then it says the top area that you will be disciplined in. That allows you to just, even more so than what you will nurture, which may be different. It could be relationships, but what you will be disciplined in is what it is that you, from an activity perspective, or whether it's pursuing your education or whatnot. And then it comes down the line, how you will empower yourself, how much money you aim to make this year. And this is an important thing to do. A lot of us don't actually write how much money we would like to make, and it's kind of a challenging thing to do when you have to think of a figure. It's like, what is the figure that I actually think I can make? What am I bold enough to say that I can make in a year? And you need to think about that and write that down. And even if it's a goal that remains here and you continue to work towards it, at least you've gotten it out and onto paper. So, and then it goes on to say, number 5, how is it that you're going to stop holding yourself back? And I think that this is really critical, because it looks at the way in which you've led your life in the past and how it is that you want to create the change to move forward. Like, this is where honesty, and this whole exercise is about honesty. We spoke about that 2 weeks ago, and we're going to speak about it again today. In everything that you do in this purpose exercise, you're going to have to be honest with yourself. So what is it that you're doing that's holding you back, that you cannot take into creating this new life moving forward, right? And then, it goes into your healthy practices, what your big goals are in order of priority. Again, the idea is that we create a priority or a level of hierarchy as to what it is that we're zoning in on, and then what it is that we are going to how is that the order in which we are going to pursue that. And then the core values, because behind everything that you do is the values that you've set for yourself, which is what we covered the last time. And then it goes on to the affirmations, the things that you will use to empower yourself, the affirmations, the what it is that you're going to commit to being honest about. And this part is different from just being honest overall. You know, sometimes we lead our lives and we know that something isn't working, or there's an area that needs particular attention and we avoid it. This is the part where we avoid. And every time we avoid it, it comes back to show itself in different ways, in different categories maybe. So that area is about that. What is it that you're going to commit to being honest about? So let's say if it is that you have a negative voice that constantly plays itself in your mind and it prevents you from taking advantage of the opportunities that present itself, that is something that you need to keep at the forefront. Like, this is something that I deal with a lot. I have this voice. It impacts the way that, you know, I approach my opportunities, or it has affected the way that I have progressed in my career, or waking up in the morning to go to the gym, or whatever it is. But you need to have a highlight of it so that when it does show itself, you're like, okay, here it is, and this is what I promised to not do, right? Because if we're not aware of the things that are holding ourselves back, or we're not honest with ourselves about that one thing or two things, then we're not going to get very far. The first step to all of this is self-awareness, right? So that's what that is about. And then the last thing is, what is it that you're going to give yourself the permission to do? And this is a lovely one, because this is where confidence comes in. A lot of the time we suffer with imposter syndrome, and it prevents us from actually taking hold of the reins and actually just giving ourselves permission to move full steam ahead in that direction, right? So we want to make sure that we do that. And then page 15 goes into your needs and your non-negotiables. Now, this is a really important part for me to include, because I don't think that you can successfully achieve the things that you want to achieve across the different categories of your life if you do not know what your needs are. If you've never asked yourself realistically, what is it that I actually need in my relationships, in my career, my personal happiness, in my finances? What is it that I need? Because when your needs become a center point, you will not settle for anything outside of that. And anything that's outside of that, then you know it's not satisfying your needs, and ultimately would lead to frustration. So this is a very critical exercise for you to do, and to really think on, and to be honest about, and not ashamed about as well. Like, what you're asking for, or what you feel like your needs are unique to you, but it's exactly the thing that drives you forward. And the more that you deny yourself of it, the less likely you're going to feel fulfilled, and the less likely you're going to achieve the things that you want. So go ahead and put that just honestly out there and on that paper, right? And then non-negotiables. If you guys are here with me, please let me know that you are here. And then non-negotiables. This is important as well, because you have to understand where your boundaries lie. Like, you have to understand what your parameters are in every area of life that you're moving through, right? And the point where something may arise that you cannot allow yourself to move past, right? So this is important, because sometimes, for example, take relationships, which is the most common thing that we find ourselves involved in, right? And the thing that probably brings up, that reflects to us and becomes a mirror to us the most in relationships. There are things that are hard-nosed, and then there are things that you can kind of work through, that you feel like they're not necessarily desirable or ideal, but there are things that you can work through. And then there's some things that just for you are absolute just no's, right? You need to know what that is, so that when it does arise, that you can see it right away. And this is a very healthy way to navigate life. Now, at the same time, I'm not encouraging you to be impossible, because life will present uncomfortable situations, uncomfortable people, challenges that you're going to have to walk through that you're going to have to overcome, etc. But knowing what your non-negotiables are allows you to respect your own boundaries, honor your boundaries, and just overall create healthy relationships by avoiding putting yourself in situations that will frustrate you or are unfulfilling to you, or not allowing yourself to show up properly in the way that you would need to as well. Like, for example, in your career, if it is that you are dealing with something that is entirely non-negotiable to you, but you keep showing up to it all the time, but you're not bringing your full self to it, then you're underperforming in your career, or you're not being authentic. So take the time also to go through this and understand what those might be across all of these different categories. And then the part here that for many is uncomfortable or seems to be challenging, or the thing that we shy away from, is your monthly budget. And this is where a lot of difficulty, not difficulty, but a lot of discipline, comes in. So you want to know what your full living expenses are. And I know some people are really good with this. Type A personalities are really good with this. But knowing your living expenses, your personal expenses, your savings, your investment goals, this is where you get to dream about the things that you would like to financially achieve, entertainment, one-time expenses, and all that. It's good to have that down. It's good to keep it in the back of your mind. Even if it's not realistic right now, at least it can become an aim, or it can become a default, a place that you eventually default back to, because you have those figures in your mind. So I encourage you to go ahead and get that done clearly and with intentionality. And then we have this part of the book, your vision exercise, your vision board. This is where you get to create anything. You get to create, there's a blank canvas and space that you get to put whatever it is that is your desire onto and walk with it. So the purpose of the vision board being in here is that normally people do this at the start of the year. They create this big postcard, and they make an activity with friends. They create a postcard. They sit down to do this thing, in this social environment, and then after it's finished, it goes in a drawer somewhere. Or for some people, they might stick it up at home in their bedroom, but then when they leave their house, or if they're at work most times during the day, then they don't actually have daily or regular sight of the vision board that they've created for themselves. So I wanted you to have something that you can travel with, that when you flip the pages of your planner, that maybe you glimpse it often, or that you can refer back to it, and it's something that you constantly are in relationship with, because you're constantly seeing it. And that's what those 2 pages are about. So I encourage you to fill it out. And if it is in creating the vision board, there aren't magazines or anything like that with the actual vision of what it is that you want for yourself, go ahead and write it for yourself. Like, just make sure that it ends up on the page. And I want to say too, again, allow yourself in this space to be as honest as you can about it, be about your vision, be as big as you can. Like, put things on there that scare you, because until you can identify and acknowledge that this is actually the pinnacle of what I'm looking at, this is my ideal, then you wouldn't know what you're aiming for. So put it on there, even if it doesn't seem realistic, and if there's no picture on there, draw it, create it, write it, whatever it is, but make sure that it reaches these 2 pages, and then build a practice of looking back at it regularly, every quarter, every month, when you flip through your planner, daily, whatever it is, right? Just remember that done is better than perfect. So it doesn't have to be any masterpiece or anything like that. It just has to be what you want on this page. So that's your vision board. Then we move on to your personal mission statement. And as it explains very clearly what your personal mission statement is, but for further clarification, this is about the impact that you want to create. So I did this exercise once, many years ago, and I think I mentioned it to some of you on live or maybe through our conversations, I had to write like a eulogy for myself and present it. This was in one of my intensive therapy sessions. So at my funeral, wrote my own eulogy. What would it look like, or what would it sound like? And in the process of that, I realized what was important to me. Like, what is it, the feeling, the value, the impact that I wanted to leave on the world. That is where this personal mission statement comes in. I believe I watched the episode of Super Soul Sundays as well, where that is something I always need to remember. Done is better than perfect. Yeah, just get it done. Just get it done, and done is perfect, right? But continuing, I was saying that on Super Soul Sundays, Oprah has an episode where she talks about her own personal mission statement, and all these great leaders that she would have interviewed as well that have personal mission statements. And it was similar to the writing, this sort of eulogy that I had to write. And it gave me a lot of perspective. It also gave me clarity and understanding that the things that I thought were important for me, that I would definitely call on a day-to-day basis, that I would have wanted to leave, were not important in that moment. In that moment, it was more about, when you sit there and you envision people sitting, it's kind of morbid, and it's kind of hard to do, and as an exercise it was jarring for me. But like, when you sit there and you see people receiving this information about you, your eulogy, what is it that you want them to feel? And I think that is the kind of direction that the personal mission statement came from. So how is it that you want to be? What is your impact going to be? How are you going to use your life? So for example, my personal mission statement is that I would like to inspire people to live their full and best lives through the way that I live my own life, and the way that I was bold and courageous and resilient in pursuing all the things that were important to me. That is my personal mission statement, in essence, right? Is to be just like a point of inspiration, so that people themselves can tap into their full potential, but also lead a life that is pure. And when I say pure, also lead a life that that brings people closer to goodness and truth. And that's based in my own spirituality. Like, I want people to walk in truth and to give people faith about humankind and mankind. That's kind of where my personal mission statement is all tied up. So what is it for you? Ask yourself that question. What is it for you? And if you have any ideas, feel free to write it. But I would love to hear from you. But think about that. What is the overall impact? And then we move on to your elevator pitch. Your elevator pitch is about, what is it that you offer now to the world that people will want? What that they will be interested in receiving or buying? And this usually refers to your business or whatever venture you're involved in, or cause that you might be involved in. This is what your elevator pitch is. And it ties in with your personal mission statement, in that that's the overall ethos of what it is that you do. But this gets down to the nitty-gritty of like a jazzy short pitch of, this is who I am, this is what I'm about, and this is why you should be interested in it, or why you would be interested in it. So I think that it's important to clarify the difference between the personal mission statement and the elevator pitch. Was that easy for you guys to receive, or is it only now clear to you? Let me know. And then also, for those of you that are here, how far have you reached in filling this out? Are you almost done? Are you halfway through? Have you made it all the way to creating your contract? Let me know how far you've reached, okay? And then lastly, master your year and make your personal contract. So this personal contract is a new addition. For those who had the 2022 planner, this was not a part of it. And it's something that, in evolving the planner, I wanted to bring this in. This is also something that I would have done like 5-6 years ago. And it's something I find to be extremely valuable. In that after you've done all this work, after you've done all this exploring, all this deep diving, all this dreaming, making peace, after you've done all of this, what is the commitment that you're making to yourself, right? What is it that a succinct just list of things that you can refer back to that reminds you in the instance of getting lost, or in the instance of feeling down, or any of these things? What is it that can pull you right back to the mission? And that's what this personal contract is about. I found it to be extremely useful for me in reminding me who I am and who I say I am. And so that's what your contract starts with. It says, it allows you to talk to yourself, right? And it says, ask you to affirm 3 things about yourself. You are what, and what. So that in any instance that, you know, you find yourself in a low place, that you can remind yourself, you know what, Lee, you said that you are, I am, what, and what, right? So define what those 3 things are for you and keep it in the back of your mind. I have a friend that she and I did the same thing. We had a personal contract, and she was in hospital going through surgery. And in her recovery, like 2 days after she had surgery, I called her contract out to her because I know hers. And that's the beauty about also going through this thing in community and having friends that move through it with you, because they can remind you as well of your contract or of your words. And it was very helpful to her in that moment, because she was obviously coming out of surgery and feeling very low. But here it is that I'm reminding her of her contract to herself, right? So you find it to be very, very useful. And then the second half of the contract is, what is it that you're going to commit to? And that's a short list of 5 things that you know, that encompass all the things that you would have explored in the previous part of the exercise. Now you have 5 things that you are going to commit to, right? And that you can easily refer to. And then with the utmost intention and self-love, you sign that to yourself. You sit in a moment of just self-appreciation for how far you've come in this process and what your intentions are for yourself. And you honor that and you move forward, right? So that's what your personal contract is about. Camille said, I wrote this year that I want my legacy to be joy, peace, and self-mastery. That is beautiful. That is beautiful. And Camille, I know that you've joined me on the reading corners and stuff. And I think that you are on that journey. Because I see you show up for that information and that expansion and that learning. And once you continue to have the penchant for that learning, for self-mastery, then joy and peace will definitely follow. And as long as you're rooted in, you know, whatever your faith might be, or whatever your higher supreme being might be, then you can find those things as well. And Vicky says, it's only now clear. The elevator pitch had me stuck. So you understand, Vicky, now it's about what is your service? What is your service to the world? So personal mission statement is about how do you make people feel, or what is it that people will remember about you? But then your elevator pitch is about what is your service? What is the thing that you are about? What is it that people come to Vicky about, right? And I don't know what you do. Maybe you can tell me, or if you're brave enough, you can write it here. That would be good as well. And maybe I can assist you with that. And Celicia says, I'm not there as yet. You only collected yours last week. Okay, and that's fine. And I hope that this helps. And I hope that you were able to capture part 1. Part 1 is a little long, but I hope that you were able to get through it. And if you get stuck along the way, you can just find the different points throughout the video that can help you move through the questions, right? So guys, that brings us to like the end of the purpose exercise, which is the starting point of your year in your planner. And that every year you revisit that, it will remind you of who you are, where you're at, and where you're going. And the goal is that with each year, you can look back and see how far you've come from year to year, from previous year to previous year, and that there's always some leveling up, or there's always some progress in the direction of what you're hoping to achieve, or where you might be going in your particular life or on your particular path. The goal of this planner is to get you not just achieving, but achieving the things that are most authentic to you. And that's why the purpose exercise is so detailed. It's very, very, very intentional. Because, you know, a lot of times people pursue careers and lives and stuff like that are not necessarily what they want. And they never stop to ask themselves what it is that they do want. You know, often people are just fulfilling maybe the goals that their parents have for them or that society has for them. And so my plan is really to get people living in a place of joy, as Camille says, because I think that once you tap into what is meant for you, what your purpose is, or what you feel aligned with at any given stage of your life, then you can show up as the best possible person, you know, and essentially all those that you interact with will feel that kind of love and that kind of authenticity from you, and just the world just becomes a better place, you know. So that's the goal of all of this. That brings us to the end of the purpose exercise, as I just mentioned. And then I just, like, yesterday and today I started posting about our stretches. I don't know if some of you had the 2022 planner. If you did, let me know how the stretches were for you. And for those that are new, like Salisha, for example, the stretches, and I posted a video today about it, but the stretches are essentially something to just to prompt you every single month about how you can just be a little bit kinder, how you can go a little bit beyond your comfort zone, how you can be a more conscious, mindful human being. So every month there is something that kind of takes you outside of the routine of your life and just prompts you to just go a little bit beyond, right? So that, you know, eventually you just expand as a person. So that is what stretches are about. And I hope you guys embrace these things, because like I said, every single little feature is a piece of a puzzle that comes together to work to make you achieve or move beyond where you are. And this is from coaching and from, you know, years of being a lawyer and stuff like that. This is what I believe helps people move forward and grow past themselves. And there's a lot of hand holding in here. So every little feature as you see it is very, very intentional. It takes quite a bit of time to kind of map it out. And that's why this planner is different from last year. And if throughout this year, I feel like there's an experience or there's something more that I want to include, then next year might be a little bit different from this year, because the goal is to continuously move us towards this greater goal of achieving our best selves or living our best, most harmonious lives. Because why not? Why not? So yeah, that's it. And then we have, you know, your QR codes with your digital QR codes with the access to the community, where you can always go for resources. I'm about to upload a meditation video for you, an affirmation meditation video for you, something that you can listen to on mornings, just to give you that kind of reinforcement to start your day. And as the year goes on, I will upload more and more meditations, because I'm dedicated, guys. Like, I'm dedicated to bring you guys on this journey. Like, I've been through, like I said to you last week, I keep thinking it was last week, but it was like 2 weeks ago, that it's been 7 years of a journey for me. And I don't think that y'all have to go through 7 years. You know what I mean? And I don't think that people should have to pay that amount of money to get access to these very simple tools that you can use on a day-to-day basis that are very, very effective, right? December's was a bit hard. December's was let it go. Are you talking about December 2022? Because I believe that was let it go, right? And December is the month where I like to encourage people to make peace. Make peace with where you're at, with what you thought things should be, what you felt like you didn't achieve. I think that's really important. It's easier said than done, for sure, but it's always a great exercise, because once you leave it there, once you leave it in the year, then you can start anew. You write those same things back down on your piece of paper and you go again, right? Let it go. And then, guys, you have your weekly layout. Now, I must say that I noticed that there was an error in the months of January and February, which I must apologize for. There was a printery error, so the days are a little wonky, but you can go ahead and just edit those. All the other months seem to be fine, but there was some sort of printing error that somehow our editing team missed. So, but yeah, your weekly layout. I encourage you as much as possible that as you approach your week, however you do it, I'm not sure whether it is that you do it on Monday, but it's always advisable that the night before, so it would be Sunday night, that you sit with your planner and that you map out your week. Like, you have to give yourself time to sit, to think, to plan, to center, and to move forward, so that the week ahead actually is productive. And I try as much as possible to adhere to that for myself, so that whether it's 5 minutes, it's 10 minutes, it's 20, 30, that you sit and go through everything. So you look at what your word for the week is. Like, what energetically is it that you want to apply to this week to move forward, and what's the spirit of it, right? And this helps you break your overall plan for the month down by weeks, right? So if you have a particular goal for the month, then each week, the word of the week is something that can get you closer to that overall goal. And then you have your affirmations, internalize that, just really allow yourself to walk in that space. And then your Bible quotes are always there to give you a boost, a realization of what's important as well. Then you can set your intentions, and your intentions could be anything from whatever goals you want to achieve, or things you have to do, or how you would like to be. Your intentions could be anything. And then your wellness and personal tasks are things that you're going to do to get you into the being part of things. So whatever it is, whether it's yoga, whether it's meditation, whether it's take a Pilates class, or get a new hobby, or whatever it is, that's what your wellness and personal tasks are. If it is that you want to read a particular book, or a reminder to pick up something that's going to, just personal self-care, you can write it in that box. And then your money earned and money spent. So if you notice, each week there's a section for your money, and then each month there is your monthly budget. And that's because money is important, right? Money is very important. And I don't think that this is taught enough, right? Because in this whole thing of moving towards purpose and moving towards a harmonious life and all these different things, money gives us the ease. And a lot of our problems are rooted around money. A lot of relationships end because of money. So you want to make sure that it's not something that's in the background. And I think there's a lot of education that needs to happen around that, and a lot of just focus or attention that we need to pay to how much money we spend and how much money we wish to earn. And I think a lot of how much money we believe we can earn is rooted in just the understanding of what even our potential could be in earning, or what our confidence might be around earning. So I put that there in focus, so that we learn better financial management, and that is always center for us. Because just like every other aspect of life, money is important, right? And I don't know about you guys, but I'm from Barbados, and I'm sure some of you are, that isn't necessarily taught to us in that way. So I wanted to be sure to bring that to you, right? And then you have your wins of the week, because celebration is always important. And, we go through life and we achieve these little things and we don't think it's important. We don't even spend time to do that. But these little reward segments or acknowledgements of the things that we achieve on a weekly basis, however small it is, goes a long way in building confidence as well. So you want to be sure that at the end of every week, you can write what your wins of the week are, right? And then synchronicities. Now, I have a couple planner users that love the synchronicity section, and it made me so happy because it made me realize that people understood it, right, and received it, and they use it. But synchronicities are those little coincidences in life, sometimes where it's undeniable, something things happen that you couldn't even plan if you wanted to, right? And things just seem to line up. I think it's important to write those down, because just like being able to go back and look at your gratitude journal to see all the things that you're grateful for, synchronicities are like little reminders of all the beautiful things that happened in life, the way in which God was working in your favor and was providing for you even when you didn't realize. You can go back and map all of those things, right? And so that's what that section is about. Just in case you were wondering, that's what that is. Synchronicities are like little magical coincidences that are just reminders that we are being guided, right? So yeah, that brings us, in general, that's what I wanted to cover today. Brings us to the end of this session. And also, guys, I wanted to remind you too that you have at the back of your planner, there's a little pocket. In case that you didn't know that, there's a pocket there for you to carry some stuff if you need to. There are blank pages at the back that I put there for you to enjoy and write whatever. And then there's your doodle and coloring page, because anytime you need to just draw or think or be mindless or clear your mind, you can always go to the back of your planner. So I hope that was useful for you guys. I hope that you can see the Vicky say, I had not a clue what synchronicities were. Do you understand now, and do you find it helpful? So yeah, that brings us to the end. I hope you see the holistic view, and I hope that you can feel the impact within yourself. I hope you feel confident about how this planner can be integrated into your life and how you can really use it to your advantage and really use it to help you change your life, and to grow, because that's the goal, right? And for those of you that have the 2022 planner, I hope that you're able to go between this one and last year's own and see the distance, or at least see what's common, what continues to come through for you, if there are any changes, if there are things that you're repeating that you need to let go, that kind of. I just hope that the reflection is there and provides you a really strong foundation to move forward, right? Vicky says, for the quarterly exercises, are we comparing to our becoming for the year? So your becoming is just essentially it could be who you want to be for your year, or who you just want to be in your future, right? So your future self operates in a particular kind of way, right? So each quarter is just a reminder as to how much am I practicing, and how close am I to becoming that person? How much of my day-to-day life am I living that out, that who it is that I want to become? Does that make sense to you? I'll go to the quarter here now. Right, so what practices in the following categories do you need to keep your being? So what values are you upholding, right? What things are you need to be better at? Is my attitude still bad, You know, like, do I need to be better at being patient? Those are the kind of things that would go under be. And then do would obviously be actions, right? And then becoming. So becoming would be like, I intend to be a woman of like stature, for example. This is a low hanging fruit. I intend to be a woman of stature, and she, you know, has this degree, or she's pursuing this particular thing, or she has a lifestyle that includes X amount of hobbies or whatever it is. In that section, you can identify what it is, how much you're practicing that, and then how close to that you are. So I hope that clarifies that for you. But yeah, that's it, guys. That is it for our session today. I think it's more than an hour. Well, no, we started late, but it's almost an hour now, and I didn't want to make it too long because I want it to be easy for you to get through. And also, guys, I'm going to start back the reading corner. So for those of you that enjoyed that, we will be coming back. So let me know if I have a book in mind, but let me know if there are any particular books that you would like us to read, how you feel about that. And yeah, that's it. So you guys, I hope you have an extremely beautiful week, a productive week as well. And then just stay tuned to the page, because there's a lot of information that's going to be coming there, and I will be doing lives a lot more often via this space. Once I figure it out and it's seamless, I'm going to, you know, it'll be a lot smoother. But I thank you guys for being here with me as always. I appreciate you. You wanted to ask about TRC? Oh, the reading corner. Yes, it's coming back. It's coming back. I'm trying to fit it into my schedule, but it's definitely coming back. But in this type of way, just for the community, as opposed to being live on Instagram. So yeah, you can look forward to that. So I'll leave you guys here, and I hope, like I said, I hope you have a beautiful, beautiful week. Love, light, and possibility, and we will talk soon. If you have any more questions, be sure to hit me via DM. Bye, guys.